Imagine getting home from a semester away of school, and the first thing you smell when you walk in the house is warm chocolate chip cookies. The sweet scent fills up the whole entire house, and all you need to go along with them is a tall glass of milk to dunk them in. Chocolate chip cookies are one of my favorite cookies, and I've baked thousands of them. Today, I'm going to go over how to make a chocolate chip cookie dough, and then how to bake the dough so you get a perfectly chewy cookie almost every time. The first thing you want to start off with is the ingredients. One tip that I have is to make sure you have all the ingredients before you start baking so you don't end up having to quickly run to the store to grab some flour or eggs or whatever. The second tip I have is to mix dry and wet ingredients separately so that all at one time you can blend them together. The best way to do this is to mix them in two separate bowls, a big one and a small one, and eventually putting all of them into the biggest one. To start off with the dry, you would have flour, sugar, baking soda, salt, all mixed in. Here's another suggestion, is using a fork to kind of sift all the ingredients together when they're dry so you get them all mixed pretty well. With the wet, you have butter, eggs, vanilla, and that's it. With the wet, you want to just kind of blend them all together with a spoon or a fork, and then you're going to mix bits of dry with the wet, so slowly incorporate them together. After you have the dough, the last thing you want to add is the chocolate chips, and you want to add the chocolate chips last so that you don't blend them all together and break the chocolate chips apart, so you have whole chocolate chips in the cookies instead of pieces of them. With the butter, I would suggest saving the wrappers when you unwrap them so that you can use the butter wrappers to grease the cookie sheets later on. The butter works as a really good way to make sure the sheets are greased so you can get whole cookies off instead of pieces of broken cookies. They taste the same, but everybody wants a whole cookie. The first thing after you've made the dough is you're going to want cookie sheets. Grease them down with butter wrappers or spray, and use just a regular tablespoon like this to grab balls of cookie dough and scoop them onto the sheet 3 to 4 inches apart because they will spread out as they bake. After you put them in the oven, set the timer. For the recipe that I have, it's 9 to 11 minutes, for example, so I would put them in the oven for 8 minutes, take them out, see how they look. If they're still really doughy, put them back in, let them cook for another minute, check them after another minute, and you're going to keep doing this until they get to the point where they look brown on top, like golden brown, but they still look doughy. It's okay for them to still look doughy. Take them out and leave them on the baking sheet because they will continue to bake. Leave them on there for 5 minutes, and it'll get to the point where they're fully baked all the way through, but they're still chewy, the perfect cookie. After you take them out, set them down to cool, let them finish baking on the sheet for 5-7 minutes, and then I use cooking racks like this. They've got really nice spaces in between that let air get to the cookie and cool it down. I put them on top of a paper towel, that way all the chocolate chip cookie crumbs are easy to clean up and throw away when you're done. After you put them on this and let them cool, your cookies are done. All you need is a glass of milk to dunk them in, or a bowl of vanilla ice cream. They go really good with that. Or you could eat them by themselves. They're good plain too. You could eat them pretty much with anything. Today I have told you how to make chocolate chip cookie dough and how to bake that dough into perfectly chewy chocolate chip cookies almost every time. I've also included a few tips and tricks I've learned from experience. Chocolate chip cookies are one of life's simplest and greatest pleasures, and homemade ones, in my opinion, are the best. Knowing how to make any type of cookie is an important and useful skill, not only to you, but to your friends and family as well. There's nothing like walking into a house full of freshly baked chocolate chip cookies.